copyrighted program created by Rio Grande. Calling all cars. Attention all cars to broadcast 246 regarding a robbery. Be on the lookout for Roy Gardner, described as 5 feet 10 or 11 inches, 165 pounds, red hair, brown eyes, heavily freckled hands. This man is wanted in connection with the holdup of a mail truck in San Diego. That's all. Practical endorsement of Rio Grande Crack by the men who drive your police cars, fire engines, and ambulances is the highest recommendation ever given a gasoline in endorsement. Eagerly sought by many, voluntarily given to one, Rio Grande Crack. For with numerous brands to choose from, a predominant number of your city, county, California, state, and federal government heads gave this better gasoline the call until today. More vitally important emergency automotive equipment is powered by Rio Grande Crack wherever it is sold than any other brand. Equally significant is the continued loyalty of tens of thousands of individual motorists like yourself to this maximum power, quicker on the takeoff, more miles in a tank full gasoline. Rio Grande appreciates your patronage, commends your good judgment, and says to those who have yet to experience real honest-to-goodness police car performance, begin getting yours tomorrow by dropping around at the nearest red and white station and filling up with Rio Grande Cracked, the most favored public-serving gasoline in the West. Deviate from our usual custom tonight and have asked Chief of Police James E. Davis of Los Angeles to introduce our speaker.
Ordinarily, the cases which are heard on Calling All Cars are taken from the files of police departments or sheriff's offices where the crime has occurred. Tonight, however, our story comes from the memory of a man who spent 17 years behind prison bars, learning most conclusively that crime does not pay. I wish to introduce Mr. Roy Gardner.
Thank you, Chief Davis. My purpose in coming here tonight is to bear witness to the statement the Chief just made regarding the unprofitableness of a life of crime. I have, during my career, faced prison sentences totaling 75 years, and in all my escapades, I received less than $1,000. A man who is mentally able to analyze his problems never gets into prison. It's not smart to commit a crime. It's just plain ignorant. Peace officers are trained to analyze all the angles of crime, and they are men of superior intelligence. I have served time in San Quentin, Leavenworth, Atlanta, and Alcatraz, and I know what I'm talking about when I say that the most trying time of a man's life is when he is attempting to beat the law. I spent 17 years learning that crime does not pay.
"1909. A hot July sun blazed down on the Mexican desert as a groaning wagon creaked along the sandy road.
Get along there, mules. I gotta make camp before sundown. Go on, get up. What's the matter with you crazy mules?
Uh-oh, soldiers.
Senor, what are you carrying in your wagon?
Why, amigos, I'm surprised you don't know me. There are guns in my wagon.
Oh, is that so, senor? And who are the guns for?
They're for General de la Huerta.
Is that so? Americanos should know that the government does not need guns.
But I tell you that
You are telling me nothing, senor. Get down off that wagon. The soldiers will escort you to Hermosillo.
Roy Gardner was taken to the regional headquarters of Hermosillo, tried, convicted, and sentenced to death. He was thrown into a stagnant, rat-infested cell with 3 other Americans.
This will be your home, senor, for the next week.
Yeah? And then what?
And, my friend, we will shoot you. And the 3 dogs who are your cellmates, too.
It's hot.
Sit down and cool off, hothead.
Who are you?
I'm Doc Campbell. That's Jim Bruce in the top bunk asleep. That other fellow's Earl Wright. You can see him when your eyes get a little more accustomed to the gloomy condition of our living room.
What are you fellows doing here?
We tried to run a few guns.
Yeah, me too. But I get out in a week.
Is that so? Oh, that's good.
It's bad. I get shot.
Congratulations. So do we.
Well, why don't you get out of this mud pie jail?
What's the use? We haven't anywhere to go. Besides, it's hot outside. Hey, what are you fumbling with that door for?
Have you taken a look at this door lately?
Lots of times.
Look, this wood is old and crumbling. Well, we can cut our way out of here in no time.
What about the guards?
I can handle them. Are you with me?
Sure.
What about the other two?
They'll come all right. But, what are you going to use to cut the wood?
My belt buckle.
How's it coming, Gardner?
Just about through. Now, listen. When the guard gets close, we smash it the rest of the way. See?
Yeah.
After that, it's up to us. You ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
We're ready.
Okay, here he comes. That's got him. Come on. There's another guard around the corner.
Yeah.
You better grab that guy's rifle and cartridges. We'll need them.
Yeah.
Hold it. I think that guy's asleep. That did it. Here, let me divide these guns. Now, we're going to have to split up.
Yeah.
Who wants to go with me?
I'll go.
Okay, let's scramble.
Thus, for the first and last time, Roy Gardner had a partner in his just with death. A full week later, he staggered across the border at Naco, Arizona, delirious, emaciated, crazed with thirst. Our scene shifts now to Christmas Eve in 1910 on crowded Market Street in San Francisco.
Let me see some of those diamonds that you got in that tray there, the unmounted ones.
It would be a pleasure. About what size stone were you looking for?
It doesn't matter. I'll take them all.
No, you don't. Put those diamonds down. Stop that man. Stop, thief. Stop.
In spite of the fact that the property which you stole was recovered in its entirety and you did not profit to any extent from your crime, there was nevertheless an intent to commit a felony. And you did, as a matter of fact, commit this felony. Therefore, I sentence you to San Quentin Penitentiary for a term of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years.
It is June 1912 in San Quentin Prison.
Murphy! Hey, Murphy! Get your rifle and help Callahan out of that north gate. Bates! Tell the guards in the south cell to block. Turn the water on those bugs. Gardner! Get out of here before I shoot you. Come on. Get back to your cell.
Oh, no, you don't. Stay where you are, Gardner. We're going to take this precious captain of the guard and string him up. Drop your gun cover.
Hey, you can't get away with this, Spike. You guys haven't got a chance.
Oh, is that so? You keep out of this, Gardner. We'll slug you. Come on, copper, get started.
you crazy chap. They'll shoot you the minute you step out that door.
Oh, no, they won't. Because you're going to be in front of me.
Don't talk, Spike.
I tell you to keep out of this, Gardner.
Give me that. All right, you guys, I've got the gun now. Get back, all of you. You're all friends of mine, and I'm not going to stand by and see you commit murder. This kind of stuff won't get you anywhere.
Good work, Gardner. I'll take over now. I got the bracelets on Spike.
Is he hurt?
No, not bad. Just a goose egg on his jaw. How about you? Where'd he shoot you?
Well, I'll be all right.
For that strange quirk of heroism, Gardner was granted a parole with only half his term served. So from 1915 to 1920, Roy Gardner was a model citizen. Meantime, he had married, become a father, and had settled down to routine of business. Then he decided to take a vacation. 18 years have passed since then, and Roy Gardner never came home again. He does not know himself how the debacle started. He does recall wandering about Tijuana in an alcoholic daze. He awoke in San Diego 24 hours later with a throbbing head and an empty pocketbook and a sudden consuming rage. In that swift transition, Roy Gardner, successful businessman, became Gardner the Bandit. On the afternoon of April 27th, Roy Gardner stood near the registry window of the San Diego post office. He saw a bank clerk deposit 2 heavy packages. He heard the messenger say,
Here's $50,000, Joe. It's got to be in Los Angeles tonight.
Just before train time, Roy Gardner slipped into a dark alley behind the post office and finally located the truck carrying the registered mail. He waited until it crawled slowly through the alley and made a flying leap for the rear end and hung on as it sped down the dimly lit street.
Pull over to the curb, buddy.
Listen, stranger.
Never mind that talk. This isn't a cap pistol in your back. Pull over. Now, which of these sacks holds the registered stuff?
I don't know, mister. I don't know what they gave me tonight.
Oh, you don't, eh? Buddy, I'll give you just about 2 seconds to tell me. If you don't, I'm going to plug you and throw you off the truck and take the whole works.
All right. It's in the 4 sacks you're standing on.
Now you're talking, buddy. I'll just rip them open and take what's in them.
You'll get a nice fancy wrap for this, fella.
Well, don't let it worry you, mister.
Back in his cheap hotel room, Gardner found his haul had netted him $67,000. With the money, he fled northward to Del Mar, found an isolated field near the town, and buried the money. Meanwhile, back in San Diego, the keeper of the hotel was looking over mug pictures in the San Diego police station.
Yeah, that's the man right there. That's the fellow who stayed at my place 2 days, and then he didn't show up anymore. And he left the day the mail truck was held up. And there's his suitcase right there. It's got his name on it, R. Gardner. And here are the mail sacks I found in his room after he left. That's the man, all right.
One thing Gardner did not know when he held up the truck was that the numbers of all the bills in that shipment were registered and known to authorities. Consequently, he was easily traced to his nearby hideout, captured, and brought before the United States District Judge.
Roy Gardner, you have been charged with the crime of robbing the United States mail. The evidence has been presented. It points indubitably to your guilt. In view of this evidence, you have pleaded guilty. And in consideration of your prison record, I hereby sentence you to serve a period of 25 years in McNeil Island Federal Penitentiary.
Well, Kavanaugh, how do you like this scenery?
I like it all right. How about you, Haig?
It's okay. Say, where are all those deer we were supposed to see up here in Oregon?
Oh, they'll come along.
You know, I'd think you guys would be a little worried about me getting away.
Why should we? You're pretty well handcuffed and tied up. And it's a cinch you're not going to jump off the train that way. Tell me something, Gardner. What's the big idea of pulling tricks like you did?
Oh, I don't know. I just decided on the spur of the moment that I was going to take that money.
Yeah? Who'd you have helping you?
Nobody.
What was the idea of burying the gun with the money?
Didn't want to run the risk of hurting anybody.
I'll bet that truck driver would have been glad to know that.
Take my advice, Gardner. Next time you rob the mail, don't steal bank shipments. The serial numbers are always registered.
I found that out. Say, look at that big deer out there in the meadow.
Deer? Where? Let me
Okay,
see.
gentlemen, it's my turn for a while.
Huh?
Now, take your keys, Mr. Kavanaugh, and get these bracelets off my wrist.
What's this?
You better do it. He's got my gun.
Make it snappy, Kavanaugh.
You're making a big mistake, Roy.
Yeah, it was 25 years to do.
You've got to do it sometime.
Well, maybe so, but not now. Now, we'll just put these cuffs on you two, gentlemen. Now, Mr. Kavanaugh, I'll take your gun and your money. I'll need traveling expenses, you know.
You'll regret this, Gardner.
Oh, I don't think so. Well, looks like we're coming into Portland. I'll be seeing you, gentlemen. So long, Kavanaugh. Give my regards to the warden.
In the days that followed, Gardner moved like a man in a nameless marathon, plodding, gasping, his ears throbbing to the tread of pursuing feet. He stole a motorboat at Rainier and shot down the Columbia to Astoria, where the sea swallows the river's rush. He took a train to Tacoma, Seattle, and Bellingham. He stole a car and fled across the Canadian border. He boarded a Canadian Pacific train at an obscure station and debarked in distant Saskatchewan, and finally, bearded and red-eyed, he reached Minneapolis. For months, he led a charmed life. Then the haunting memory of his wife and child dulled his wits, and there was born a nostalgia that could not cope with caution. And in spite of the ring of armed men assigned to keep an eye on his wife's residence, Gardner took the 50-to-1 chance and slipped through, and somewhere the two met. Then, with the pack at his heels, Gardner fled. Southern Pacific number 20 rolled slowly out of Roseville, California yards, headed eastward on the long run to Chicago.
Hey, what are you doing in here? This is a mail car.
You're telling me. Get your hands up before I blow your head off.
Yes, sir. Don't shoot.
Now, turn around and drop your hands behind you.
Yes, sir. You're getting that strap too tight.
Save the talk. Where's the registered mail?
I don't know.
Quit stalling.
Honest, I don't know. I'm just deadheading this run tonight.
Okay, I'll find out for myself.
You better be careful. You're going to ruin some mail the way you're cutting those sacks.
That's tough. There she is. Now, I'll just take what you've got in your pocket and be on my way. How do you stop this train?
I'm not sure. It's either 2 or 3 pulls on the signal cord.
What are you trying to do? Double-cross me? I'll try the emergency. Just keep your back turned, buddy, and you won't get hurt.
But Roy Gardner was not fated to profit from that robbery. Next morning, a quickly formed posse found the stolen mail pouch with its $175,000 intact. Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause Gardner had kicked it off the train and had lost it in the darkness. 'Cause
On the evening of May 23rd, 8 days after the robbery, Chief Special Agent O'Connell and his assistant, George Locke, made a startling discovery.
Hey, O'Connell. Do you see what I see?
I don't know. What is it?
You see that fella going into that gambling joint down there in the middle of the block?
Yeah, I've seen that guy before.
I'll say you have. That's Roy Gardner.
Come on, let's go down there.
Are we going to try and take him ourselves?
No, there's Austin and McShane just coming out of that restaurant over there. We'll call them over. Hey, McShane, come over here a minute.
Well, between you and me and the gate post, I'm just a little nervous about taking this guy.
Oh, I don't think he'll blast us. He hasn't shot anybody yet.
What's on your mind, O'Connell?
We just saw Roy Gardner going into a gambling joint a couple of doors down the street. Locke and I are going to take him. You and Austin want to come along?
Sure. Come on over, Austin.
You keep on the job outside, and if he starts out, let him have it.
And be ready to shoot.
Well, that's nice work, boys. A couple more hands like that, and I'll be sitting pretty.
Don't move, Gardner.
Hey, what's coming off here?
We're raising your ante. We're going to call you. Get on your feet and don't make any false moves, or you're going to get hurt.
Okay, partner. You don't have to jam that gun in my neck so hard.
Roy Gardner was placed aboard a train that night and taken to San Francisco, where a week later, before federal Judge Van Fleet, the unpredictable outlaw pleaded guilty and was given another 25-year sentence on McNeil Island. Loaded down with an Oregon boot and fairly clanking with chains, Gardner started his northward journey in the company of Deputy United States Marshals Thomas Mulhall and D.W. Wrinkle.
Look, Mulhall, these handcuffs are too tight.
So what? I want them tight.
Someday I'm going to blast you.
That's what all you guys say.
Well, you're not fooling with a kid now, Mulhall. I've got 50 years staring me in the face, and if you think I'm going to do it, you're nuts.
What are you going to do about it?
If I get my wrists out of these handcuffs, I'll show you what I'll do.
Yeah, but you're not going to get your wrist out of those handcuffs.
Okay, skip it. What time is it?
It's 7:30. What do you care? You're not going anywhere.
Maybe not. If you've got nerve enough to let me, I'd like to wash my hands and go to bed.
Okay, go ahead. But leave the door open.
Okay, smart guy, get your mitts up.
Where'd you get that gun?
Wouldn't you like to know?
You won't get away with this.
That's what they all say. Get over there and get these handcuffs off. And you, Wrinkle, keep your mouth shut and don't you make any funny moves. Now, Mr. Mulhall, I'll take your gun if you don't mind. Now stay right where you are, Wrinkle. Drop your gun on the floor. That's fine. Now pick it up and hand it to me, Mulhall.
Yeah.
By the barrel, wise guy.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Get these cuffs off. Now, we'll put them on you and your silent friend there. You don't suppose he's scared, do you, Mulhall?
Oh.
Now, we'll just equip our Mr. Mulhall with this Oregon boot.
I ought to kick your teeth out.
And I'll borrow your wallet like this and be on my way. Incidentally, Copper, I never intended to shoot you anyway.
That's big of you, Gardner. If I'd have been in your place, I'd have shot you down like a dog.
Well, so long, coppers. Give my regards to the warden.
In San Francisco, investigation was immediately launched to learn how Gardner had smuggled the gun aboard the train. It was found that he had been searched 3 times, and to this day, no one knows how he accomplished that sleight of hand trick. The news of his escape was flashed over telegraph wires, and the entire Pacific Northwest was turned overnight into a vast hunting ground. Gardner's movements for the next 48 hours were the hysterical antics of an animal in a trap. Finally, taking a gamble through sheer desperation, he swung aboard an outgoing freight train near Castle Rock. At last, reached Centralia, Washington, made his way to a small hotel, registered as Dale Patton. But again, a suspicious innkeeper was his downfall.
Well, what is it?
Your name Patton?
Sure, why?
Oh, nothing in particular. Just wanted to talk to you a minute. Sure, it's tough to have your face wrapped up like that.
Yeah, it'll be all right in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. What happened?
Oh, some gasoline exploded in a machine shop where I was working.
You're pretty lucky it didn't get in your eyes and hair.
Huh? Oh, yeah. It would have been pretty bad if I hadn't been wearing a cap and goggles.
The landlady thought you might be hiding something.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, she thought you might have smallpox or something.
Oh, yeah?
As a matter of fact, those bandages don't look right to me.
Well, since when have coppers got the right to bother a working man just because his face don't look right? I can prove who I am and where I got these bandages and why I'm wearing them. Now, beat it before I call the manager.
Did you say copper?
You heard me.
Mister, I was going to take you down to headquarters, but I've changed my mind now. I'm going to take a look at you right here.
I don't like the looks of those freckles on your fingers. Now, just get your hands up. Don't make any funny moves for any guns.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to take those trick bandages off your face. Like this.
Hey, take it easy.
And this. And this. That's just what I expected. Let me see your arm. A spread eagle tattoo mark, huh? Come on, Gardner. I'm taking you in.
Okay, cop. I'm it.
Thus, after long months of matching wits with the law, Roy Gardner reached that cold, windswept St. Helena, McNeil Island. Gardner quickly swung into prison routine, friendly, anxious to make the best of his lifetime jolt. But the cloak of good behavior was only a thin mantle to shield his plotting mind. 81 days after the gates of McNeil Island prison had swung closed on Gardner, we find him again, planning to escape.
Hey, Bogart, you ready?
Sure, I'm ready.
Where's Impin?
He's over there by the fence. Did you bring the pliers?
Yeah, come on. Hey, Impin, you still ready to go?
Sure, what have we got to lose? We're lifers, ain't we? If we get shot, we get shot. Any way you look at it, we die in here.
Okay. Now, you two guys stand close together so they can't see me while I cut this wire.
Yeah. Hurry up, Gardner, hurry up, hurry up.
Take it easy, fella. You've been here a long time. You're used to this dump.
Make it snappy.
Okay, there she is. You ready?
Ready.
Let's go.
Hey, Gardner, where do you think you're going? Hey, come back here, you guys. Break! 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 Break!
How you coming, boys?
Okay.
We won't do much shooting until they get the other guys rounded up.
Oh, they got me.
Keep going, Gardner.
They're getting close. You still want to break?
Sure, go on.
I get you.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
4 hours later, as the gathering darkness swept over McNeil Island, guards toured the thickets with searchlights, but found no trace of the missing Gardner. The search was finally abandoned. Gardner had escaped again. Under a pall of lowering smoke from a fire started to rout him out of hiding, Gardner had crept back through the hole in the fence and for 6 interminable days lay hidden in the loft of the prison barn. Then, one night, as the fog swirled and eddied across the bleak island, Gardner made his halting way to the coast. Plunging into the icy water, Puget Sound drifted with the tide toward the mainland 2 miles away. Then, one morning, in the office of the San Francisco Bulletin, the managing editor received a letter.
Hey, Bill, come here a minute.
Okay, just a minute.
Don't give me any of that just a minute stuff. Get over here.
All right. Keep your shirt on. After all, we had to get that story out on that movie dame that just hit town.
The devil with that. Take a listen to this letter I just got. It's from Roy Gardner.
Oh, now look, boss. You're old enough not to fall for such things as that.
Shut up and listen.
Give me a cigarette.
I said shut up. You think it'd kill you to do without one of those things for 10 minutes? Now, here's Gardner's letter. I got shot in each leg before I got to the thicket. I was pretty dizzy and weak from loss of blood, so I crawled under a thick bush behind the fence and covered myself up with leaves.
Just a babe in the woods, huh?
I stayed there till long after midnight. I could hear the guards beating the brush all around me. When they moved away to another part of the island, I crossed the field to the prison farm barn. I dragged myself up into the haystack and stayed there the rest of the night.
Didn't even wait until the cows came home.
Oh, shut up. I was desperate to get off McNeil, and I figured I would have to swim across to Fox Island. Believe me, I wouldn't do it again. It was the toughest swim I ever had in my life. I was nearly unconscious by the time I got across.
Yeah, if he'd been conscious, he wouldn't have tried it in the first place.
Oh, now look, Bill, will you keep quiet? I crawled along the shore, found another barn, and fell asleep there. I stayed on Fox Island for 4 days, milking cows and eating apples. And then I finally got across to the mainland where a friend of mine took care of me till the wounds in my legs were better.
Who's the friend?
That's what we'd like to know. Listen to the rest of the letter. I want you to tell my wife not to worry about me and to tell her that I'm through with crime. I also want to tell the world that I'll make good if they'll only give me a chance.
Yeah, I'll bet. Good, Husky Hall out of a mail car.
Well, he's enclosed a letter here to the president asking for a chance to go straight. He doesn't want a pardon, he says, just a suspended sentence.
Yeah, I bet he does at that. Well, what do you want me to do about this?
Slap this thing on the front page. Give it everything you got. As soon as the copy desk gets a head on it, let me see it.
I'm going to get me a job in a nice, quiet boiler factory.
Roy Gardner came out of his hole in November. He turned up in Maricopa, Arizona, a disheveled, haunted figure who had grown a beard and dyed his hair in a frantic effort to disguise himself. Just before train time in the post office at Maricopa, a figure loomed in the doorway.
Hey, you can't come in here. This is a post office sorting room. You ain't got any business in here.
That's what you think, buddy. Reach for the ceiling and keep your mitts up.
What do you want?
This is a holdup, mister. I want the registered mail and I want it quick.
It's gone to the depot.
Oh, no, it hasn't. There won't be a train out of here till morning. Come on, fella, give. Where are those registered pouches?
Over there by the door.
All right. Put your hands behind you. And we'll just tie you up with one of these nice, heavy cords here.
Hey.
And I'll take your gun. That's just in case. Now, if you're a smart boy, you'll keep your mouth shut till I get out of here.
Gardner scuttled out of Maricopa before a posse could be organized, crossed the Gila River, and sought a haven, a little hotel in Phoenix. Perhaps the momentary security dulled the sharpness of his wits. Perhaps he lost sight of the irrefutable law of averages, for he decided to perpetrate another crime in Phoenix. The plan took shape in his mind on the afternoon of November 15th when he overheard a conversation in a baggage car.
Where's that shipment you got for Los Angeles?
Keep your shirt on, Dutch. It's right here in these little sacks.
Oh?
15,000 in cash.
All right, that is good. Hurry it along. The train leaves in just a few minutes.
Okay. Here they come. Catch 'em.
All right. Do the other one.
Here she comes.
All right. Give me the book. I'll sign it.
Okay, Dutch. See you next week.
Yeah, I'll be back. Who's there?
All right, monkey, get your hands up.
Who you call monkey?
I'm talking to you, squarehead. Get your hands up.
No, I will not do it.
Where's your gun?
It is in my locker.
What's the matter with you? Do you want to get shot?
No, but I will not be held up.
Yeah, that's what you think. Now get back there.
No.
I said get back there.
No. You do not hold me up.
That's what you said, pal. Go on, get back over there.
Don't push.
You're the bullheadedest guy I ever saw in my life.
I said don't push. I am not cattle.
No? Well, how do you like this?
Now you have done it. Now I teach you a lesson. I teach you what happens to guys who monkey with the mail.
Oh, yeah. You take a swing at me, you squarehead. I'll get you back there.
Yeah. You find out.
Hey,
I'm scared of you.
In here.
Hey, come quick. Bring a rope. I have got a bandit.
Huh? Boy, I'll say you have. Do you know who that guy is?
No. He just big fool. Think he could hold me up.
That's Roy Gardner, the mail bandit.
Who?
Roy Gardner.
Yeah? From now on, he's just a number in a prison cell. Push me like cattle, the dumb cop
In just a moment, Chief Davis will give us concluding facts regarding our program. But first, just a reminder. The right and left bower of the most efficient motoring are those two Rio Grande products, Rio Grande Cracked, the superior gasoline of police car performance, and Realube, the motor oil that can't break down at any heat, at any speed. The newest and finest motor oil sold in the West. And now, Chief Davis.
In spite of efforts to save him, the evidence against Gardner was so conclusive that he again pleaded guilty and received the third 25-year term. Chained and watched like a mad dog, Gardner was taken to Fort Leavenworth. Late in June of this year, Roy Gardner was released after 17 years in prison. An outstanding example of the losing nature of a life of crime.
Thank you, Chief Davis.
Los Angeles Police calling all cars. Attention all cars. Broadcast 246 regarding a robbery. Suspects in this case has served his sentence. That's all. Rosenquist.
The role of Roy Gardner in tonight's broadcast was played by Mel Ruick. This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.
Calling all cars, a copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Kern County Sheriff's Office calling all cars. Attention all cars. Broadcast 247 regarding a murder. Assist the officers at Wasco in preventing a lynching. That's all. Rosenquist.
The other day, an acquaintance said,
I can easily understand your enthusiasm for Rio Grande Crack, Dr. Lindsley. After all, you are the narrator for calling all cars.
Well, friends, I'm not ordinarily quick-tempered, but the fellow's insinuations ruffled me so that I snapped back at him. Of course I think Rio Grande Crack is the finest gasoline on the market, but neither you nor anyone else ever has heard me say use Rio Grande Crack merely because I said so. I have always, and again do so tonight, pointed to the fact that the best authorities connected in no way with Rio Grande, the men who drive the most as pilots of your police cars, fire engines, and other emergency equipment, have given Rio Grande Crack the most trustworthy and authentic reasons to deserve your loyalty. And all I say is, to those of you who haven't been getting the lightning pickup, maximum power, greater speed, and longer mileage of police car performance, visit the red and white Rio Grande station nearest you in the morning and begin getting it with Rio Grande Crack. This great motor fuel is first in public service and should be first in yours. The story we're to hear tonight occurred in the jurisdiction of Sheriff Ed Champness of Kern County, and we are privileged to have Sheriff Champness open our program.
There are many organizations in this country that concern themselves with what they have termed the salvation of the modern youth. A great many of them do enormous amounts of good. Many of them, however, content themselves with criticizing other activities, especially radio programs such as Calling All Cars. It is my opinion that programs of this nature do a great deal of good in bringing home the fact that crime is a losing game. I think peace officers throughout the state will agree with me when I say that every form that permits the empathizing of that vital fact is of benefit to the community. The problem of crime among juveniles is one that is causing increasing trouble to peace officers, and we welcome every chance to stress the fact to boys and girls that crime does not pay. Our story tonight will demonstrate again the truth of this statement.
In a little town in the Dust Bowl of western Oklahoma, there lived the family of Jesse Crabtree, aged 19.
Is that you, Jesse?
Yeah, who'd you think it was?
Jesse, where have you been?
Out.
I've been worried about you. I wish you'd tell me when you're going to stay out late like you did last night.
I've told you 1,000 times to stop worrying about me, and don't bother me.
Well, I can't help it, son. I don't know what I'm going to do about you.
You don't have to do nothing. Just leave me alone.
Son, why do you talk that way to your mother?
Because I'm fed up with your yapping.
Did you try to find work yesterday?
Yeah, what of it?
Well, you're always happier when you're working. You don't get into trouble.
Skip it. I'm tired. And if you don't quit belly aching, I won't come home at all.
Well, you go lie down, son. I'm going out in the yard to water the flowers.
Morning, Mrs. Crabtree. Jesse get home all right last night?
Oh, yes, he did.
He sure does a lot of running around for a young feller.
Yes, I worry a lot about him. I suppose I'm foolish, but Jesse is the oddest boy. He never was one to confide in a person. Even when he was little, I never could reason with him. And when I'd scold him, he'd just act sullen and then go and do the worst things he could to get even with me.
Well, you know how it is. Spare the rod and spoil the child.
Yes, sometimes I think if I'd whipped him, it might have done some good, but I was always afraid of breaking his spirit.
Well, personally, I'd rather have a child with a broken spirit than an ornery one.
Hey, Jesse, got a cigarette? I'd be smoking it if I did.
What's the matter? You gone soft? Why don't you swipe some?
Why don't you get some, wise guy?
Don't be stupid. I'd have your luck if I got caught. I'd get thrown in the can. My old man let me stay there, too. He ain't like your mother, you know.
Go on and get some, Jesse. Your old lady will pay for them if you get caught.
Every place in this lousy burg hides their stuff when they see me coming.
You can't blame them.
Hey, wait a minute. See that guy with the satchel? I got an idea.
What is it?
Say, I know that guy. He collects pennies from the gum machines. He comes through every week. Boy, what a soft job.
Yeah, he don't have to worry about being stuck up. Boy, if them was only 2-bit pieces in that bag.
That's the point. He won't even squawk if he comes back to the car and his pennies are gone.
You mean you're going to steal?
No, we'll just borrow them from him. The insurance company will pay him, and everybody will be happy.
Well, I won't be after we're caught.
Me neither. I don't think you ought to do it, Jesse.
Listen, don't tell me what I ought to do. That's the one thing that makes me madder than anything else.
Gosh, don't nobody ever ball you out?
No, they don't. They don't get away with it anyway. I make 'em sorry they even tried to ball me out.
Look, I think that guy's going in that place to eat lunch.
Now, if he just leaves the bag in the car.
He did. He didn't even lock the car. I guess there isn't much in the bag. Huh?
That's all right. It'll be enough for what we want. Come on.
Well, how are we going to go about it?
Geez, a guy would think we was going to open a safe. You goofs just stand alongside of the car. I'll get in and put the stuff in my pocket. We don't want the bag. That'd make the guy sore. If anybody comes out of that store, you give me the business, and I'll duck down in the car until they pass. If that guy comes out, we'll all scram.
Okay, but I'm going to need a drink after this.
Well, maybe there'll be enough for that, too. All right, here's the car. Now, for gosh sake, you guys stop acting like you were seeing a ghost. Just look natural.
Gee, I feel funny. What do we say if anybody stops and talks to us?
Better not take him long.
Here comes old man Gregory. What'll we do?
Speak to him. He won't stop. Hey, Jesse, duck.
Hi, Mr. Gregory. Nice day, ain't it?
Sociable guy, ain't he?
What do you want him to do? Come over and kiss us?
Hey, Jesse, hurry up. I'm getting nervous.
You guys make me sick. Come on, let's go.
How much you get?
You think I'd stop to count it, you dope? Take it easy, will you? I think it was about $3.
Swell. Let's get the cigarettes.
Here, you get them. They'll wonder where I got the dough if I try to buy them.
Oh, no, you don't. If that guy blats around about his pennies being gone, they'll remember I had some.
Yeah, they're harder than if there was dollar bills.
You guys are yellow. We got to get them changed into silver all at one place. I'll go in here. You guys wait.
Well, Jesse. What do you want now?
Hi, Mr. Benson. I want some cigarettes.
Well, have you got the money? You know, your mother told me not to let you charge anything. She just doesn't have the money to pay for it.
Don't give me no lecture. I got the money.
Oh, you have? Well, where'd you get it?
None of your business.
Huh?
Well, I'll tell you if you want to know so bad. Ma's got a penny bank, and she sent me down to get the pennies changed into silver. Can you do it, or have I got to go somewhere else?
Oh, yes, I'll do it. I'll change it. Funny, she sent you down with it. With a nice mother like yours, I don't see why you can't be trusted. Now, if I was your...
Just a minute, kid. I want to talk to you.
Yeah, what about?
Where'd you get those pennies?
What's it to you?
Somebody just took my collections out of my car. I came out of the lunchroom just in time to see you guys walking this way, and these are the pennies.
Listen, wise guy, these pennies come out of my mother's bank, didn't they, Mr. Benson?
Well, that's what Jesse told me. I don't think he'd actually rob anybody, but we can find out easy enough. We'll just call up his mother on the phone.
Are you calling me a liar, Benson?
Well, if your story is true, why shouldn't we have her to confirm it?
Either you take my word for it or else.
Oh, so that's how it is, eh? Jesse, I know Mr. Carson here won't have you arrested if you ask him not to. But why do you do these things? Can't you see you won't always be protected out of the sympathy for your mother? Someday you're going to have to pay.
I told you not to lecture me.
Well, somebody's got to.
All right, Benson, you asked for it.
Oh. But you... Hey, come back here. Mr. Benson, are you hurt?
No, not much. It was mostly the surprise.
The idea of hitting an old man like you. That little rat is going to jail where he belongs.
No, please don't do anything like that. I've known his mother for years. She's a fine woman. It would break her heart if he went to jail. He's all she has.
She hasn't got much, then. She'd be better off without that kid.
Is Mr. Benson going to bring charges against Jesse, Mrs. Crabtree?
Oh, Carl Benson wouldn't think of doing anything like that. He realizes Jesse's young and doesn't know any better.
Doesn't know any better than to hit an old man?
Well, I've warned Carl not to take Jesse to task. I told him time and again that Jesse's temperament just won't stand for it. I don't know what it was all about, but he must have aggravated Jesse, or he never would have done such a thing.
Well, I know what it was all about, and I think you ought to. After all, there are two sides to every story.
Well, that's just it. People are always ready to say the worst about a boy that's full of spirit. Jesse has to have someone to take his side. I'm sure he'll settle down when he finds work again.
But nobody'll hire him until he does settle down.
I suppose everybody's prejudiced against him. Well, it'll all be different soon. I'm going to take Jesse to California.
California?
Yes, I have a chance to go in partnership with a friend who runs a little restaurant in Wascow. It's just another small town, but it's far enough away from Oklahoma for Jesse to get a fresh start.
Well, I just hope it's not too fresh.
Jesse Crabtree's boyish pranks were not over.
While his mother prepared for the journey westward, Jesse foregathered with his boon companions, Tom and Jack.
I'm tired of fishing. Come on, let's go.
Where you going?
I don't know. Anything to get away from here. Gee, I'll be glad when we leave for California.
When you going?
I don't know. Next month sometime, maybe. Meantime, we got to find something to do.
Yeah. Be swell if we had a car.
Yeah, you got something there. Maybe we can do something about that.
Hey, no, wait a minute. If you mean you're going to steal a car, you can count me out.
We ain't going to steal one. We'll just borrow it.
Sounds good to me. Where you going to get it?
See them people camped down by the river there? Now, they might be talked into letting us use their car. Hey, mister, we got to borrow your car for a few minutes. It's an emergency.
What do you mean, an emergency?
We got to go someplace, and we ain't got time to answer questions.
The key's in the car, Jesse.
You guys get in. I'll handle this.
Hey, wait a minute. What's all this about?
I told you, mister, so don't get tough about it. I ain't meaning to fix flats with this tire iron.
Hey, listen, you kids can't get away with this.
Oh, don't argue with them, Joe. Let's go call the police.
Keep your trap shut, sister.
Don't you kids realize the jam you'll get into over this? What'll your parents say if
Listen, guy, don't try to bawl me out.
That's just what you need, a good bawling out.
I told you to shut up.
Put that iron down.
Oh, you've killed him. You've killed him.
Shut up. I ain't hurt him much.
Oh, you've killed him.
I told you to shut up. Am I going to have to choke you to make you do it? Well, that'll take care of her. Come on, let's get out of here. Well, boys, how do you like the car I borrowed?
The bruised and bleeding camper and his wife made their way to a farmhouse and reported the robbery. Jesse Crabtree and his companions were arrested and brought to trial. The overwhelming sympathy for Jesse's mother brought only distorted facts into the evidence.
I just know my boy didn't mean any harm. He couldn't do a thing like that on purpose.
It would give this community a black eye for a boy to be sent from here to the reform school. I think he should be given probation.
I know. It'd just kill his mother if anything happened to Jesse.
And this camper asked us to go to the store for him in his car. When we gets back, he says we shortchanged him. Then he made a pass at us, and he gets the worst of it. So he was just going for a doctor in his car when we was picked up. And that's all there is to it.
Besides, these campers are not like regular citizens. They're always drunk and fighting. I think we ought to do something to protect our own townspeople.
So the camper's wife was trying to make him stop fighting us, and he turns around and gives her a bat in the mouth, and that's how she got hurt.
Tell the police as soon as we got the doctor, but I didn't have time to.
Oh, it's just awful the way everybody takes advantage of my Jesse.
There has been a great deal of conflicting testimony in this case. Too much of it, in fact. Jesse Crabtree, stand up. I'm going to give you what I think you need more than a sentence. I'm going to talk to you like a father.
Skip it.
What's that, young man?
I said skip it. If you think I'm not guilty, turn me loose. If I had a father, he wouldn't give me no lectures. I don't need them.
Jesse, your attitude is your principal offense. I warn you that someday it'll get you in serious trouble. I won't antagonize you because I think you can be helped. Therefore, I release you on probation in the custody of your mother.
Hello, Jesse. I haven't seen you since the trial. I hope your narrow escape taught you a lesson.
Yes, it did, Mr. Benson. That's why I came down to see you.
Well, that's fine, Jesse. Now, if there's anything I can do, I'll be glad to, for your mother's sake and yours, too.
There sure is something you can do. You see, I've decided to get a job and help Mother until we go to California.
Splendid, splendid. I can't furnish a bond, but I'll be glad to recommend you.
Oh, you won't have to do anything like that.
Well, I guess everyone in town knows you anyway.
Yeah, that's the catch. And that's where you come in.
What do you mean?
Well, you can give me the job.
Oh, but Jesse, that's out of the question. There's not even enough work here for me.
Oh, that won't matter. I won't be here much, and you won't have to pay me much money.
Well, I don't know what you're getting at, but it's utterly impossible.
How old are you, Mr. Benson?
Huh? Why, I'm 50 years old.
Boy, I'll bet you were a wow with the ladies in your day.
What are you driving at, Jesse?
Well, I just got to wondering the other day why your wife should still be so jealous.
If you haven't got anything else to talk about, I've got work to do.
You and Mother have been pretty good friends, haven't you?
Oh, go on.
It's funny. You never know how sly somebody is until you get to thinking about them.
Huh?
I've got to take my hat off to you. Your old lady would, too, if I told her what I know. It would knock her head off.
I've always believed that in every human being, no matter how low, there was some spark of decency. But I don't believe that any longer.
Now, don't get all heated up. All I'm asking for is a few lousy bucks a week for a few weeks. Why, with a perfect setup like that, I'm letting you off easy. I'm being noble.
Did you honestly think for a minute I'd pay you because of the threat of a rotten lie like that?
Sure you're going to pay me. Now, let's be reasonable. As man to man, you and I know it's not true. I wouldn't think of saying such a thing about my mother, unless I had to.
No one would believe such a thing. Certainly not coming from her own...
From her own son? That's just what would make it a cinch. You know how this town loves scandal. Even if they didn't believe it, think of the howl that would go around. And think of the spot you'd be in with your old lady. She'd believe it. She's had a lot less trouble to believe some other things about you.
And I helped keep you out of the reform.
Just in case you still don't know what you're going to do, there's a couple of witnesses outside that's seen plenty. They'll say they did anyhow, because they're going to help me spend my salary.
Do you mean you've confided in them?
Sure. This is a business proposition, and I needed some helpers. I'll show you. Hey, Tom, Jack, didn't I tell you about my job here?
Sure thing. Surest thing you've done yet.
Now, look, Mr. Benson, it'll be a lot easier to pay off for a few weeks than to have a few years of grief. And I mean grief, because I've got a few other gags up my sleeve that I haven't told you about. Now, what is it? Play ball or else?
You will bring shame and disgrace to your mother soon enough. If you're vicious enough to think of such a thing, you're capable of doing it. I'll pay you. Not because I'm afraid for myself, but out of the deepest sympathy for your mother.
Now you're talking. We're going to get along swell, and I know you're going to hate to see me leave.
I'll appreciate it if you'll stay out of my sight. How much am I going to be robbed of?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not a bad guy. Just lucky. And right now, I'm just thirsty, so you can start with $5. Friends are great things to have. They sure come in handy. Well, I'll be seeing you. Well, boys, let's go drink to my new dishonest job. Gosh, do I feel goody-goody. Crime sure don't pay.
Jesse Crabtree drank continuously and stayed away from home for days at a time. In answer to his mother's questions as to the source of his funds, he was evasive as usual. Then on the night before their departure for California...
Hey, Tom.
Yeah?
I got a couple of pints. Let's get your old man's car and wind things up right.
Oh, he never leaves the keys at home when he goes away.
Well, Jack here can fix the ignition, can't you, Jack?
Sure. Let's get it.
Okay. It'll serve him right for never let me have it.
I sure don't know what we're going to do for drinks after you leave, Jesse.
Yeah, how about letting us in on your graft with Benson, huh?
No, I promised him it would quit when I left. I got to keep my word, don't I? Besides, it wouldn't work for you. You just don't have my luck.
Yeah, I bet you have to listen to plenty of lectures.
Yeah, I cured him of that. Nobody's tried that on me for a long time.
Say, hit me shoving this garage door, huh?
Boy, this is something. 55 miles an hour and we still got the brake on.
Why don't you take it off and let's see if she'll do 90.
Hey, you better slow down. I can't even see.
Just can't take it. Too bad.
Hey, what's that ahead of us?
Where? I don't see nothing.
Stop! It's somebody in the road.
I can't stop.
You hit somebody. You gotta stop.
It's too late now. I've hit him.
But suppose somebody saw you. There was some people around that car that was parked by the road.
First, we gotta get out of here fast. Then we gotta think fast.
Yeah, but suppose they catch us. Even your luck won't get you out of that.
I know what we're gonna do. Tom's old man got money. He can get a good lawyer to get Tom out of a stretch.
Well, what's Tom got to do with it?
Well, it's his car, ain't it? We'll leave it parked with him at the wheel, passed out cold. They'll pick him up, and he won't know whether he was driving or not. I'll be in California, and you'll have to keep your nose clean by saying we both left Tom in the car after we left the filling station. If you don't, you'll do a stretch, because I'll swear you was driving. Hey, Mom, get your stuff together quick. We got to start for California tonight instead of tomorrow.
Yes, but why? Oh, Jesse, you've been drinking again.
Don't start yowling. If we don't get out tonight, I'll go to jail.
Oh, Jesse, what have you done now? This is terrible.
Listen, it wasn't my fault. Tom was driving and we hit somebody. But I'll get dragged into it if we don't get out of here. They'll blame it on me. I'm always the goat. You know that.
Yes, I know. But I told you not to associate with such bad boys. Now, this is what comes of it. Oh, I do hope when we get to California, you'll be more careful who you go around with.
Yeah, sure I will. But this ain't any time to start preaching. Let's get going.
Well, all right, son. But I do want you to promise me that you'll settle down and help me in the cafe. I know you'll be happier there because everyone won't have the wrong opinion of you. I know everything's going to be just wonderful.
But Jesse Crabtree did not work in the cafe with his mother. He became a hanger-on around the various pool halls and drinking places of the town. Then, one day in May 1936, he was arrested for drunk driving by Constable Joe English.
Pull over! What's the idea of driving a car like that?
All right. Just give me a ticket and cut out this speech.
You've been drinking. This is serious, young fellow. Let's see your driver's license.
Sure. Look at it all day if you want to, but just don't talk.
Are you Mrs. Crabtree's son, the woman who runs the cafe?
Yeah, what's it to you?
Well, I've heard her talk about you, but I never thought I'd see you in this condition. I know she'd feel awful if she saw you this way. She's a fine woman, and she's mighty proud of you.
I'm telling you for the last time, don't give me no lectures.
All right, Jesse. All right. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to forget about your being drunk because I know it would hurt your mother. And I'll see that you get a suspended sentence. Now, go on home, and don't you ever let me catch you like this again.
Don't you worry, copper. I won't let you catch me.
3 weeks later, for the fourth time, English picked up Jesse on the streets, drunk.
Jesse, this is the last time I'm going to do this for you. I don't know why I've done it as much as I have. Unless it's because I had a fine mother. And I'll never forget her. And you've got one. But you forgot her long ago. You're just no good. Now, I'm coming around here tomorrow and give you a talking to like you've never had before in your life. And you better be sober.
You'd better not come around.
Jesse, I've treated you like a father. You know I haven't any grudges against you. I've done everything I can to help you. Aren't you human? What more do you want me to do?
I don't want you to do a thing.
All right. If that's the way it is, well, I'm warning you now. And I want you to remember it. The next time I pick you up driving a car while you're drunk, you're going to jail. It's the best and safest thing I can do for you and your mother.
Okay, copper. That's the way it is.
On the afternoon of August 15th, 1936, Jesse bought a pint of whiskey and consumed most of it. He then bought 2 quarts of wine and, loitering around town, consumed the wine at his leisure. Later that evening, he entered into a card game at the Wasco Pool Hall.
Yeah, there's old Joe Law himself.
Hi, boys. Howdy, Mr. English. You want to sit in?
He's a cop that can sit in my game any night.
Yeah.
You like your coppers around here, don't you?
Joe English ain't all cop. He's mostly pal. He's a right guy.
He talks too much.
Oh, all cops do that. You can't hold it against them if they talk right.
None of them know how to talk right. But I'm going over and talk to him. I'll talk to him once and for all.
Put that gun away.
Hey, you nuts.
All right, English. This is your last chance to make an impression on me. What do you got to say?
Put that gun down, kid. You don't know what you're doing. Got it, boys. He's killed me.
Shot Joe.
Grab him!
Let go of me. Come on, grab him. Come on, hold him. Come on. Somebody get a rope. Where's the rope? Come on.
As the mob spirit flared, Jesse Crabtree, for the first time in his life, found himself facing a hostile mob. In the faces of these men, he saw no sympathy for him or his mother. This time, there was no one to say, give him another chance. His unbroken spirit had brought him at last face to face with certain death. Meantime, word had been flashed to the office of Sheriff Champness in Bakersfield, 28 miles away. 33 minutes later, Sheriff Champness pulled to a screeching stop in front of the pool hall in Wasco. With him rode Deputy Jack Farley.
You stay here and be ready to get underway as quick as you can. I'm going in to see if I can get that kid out of there.
Come on, give me the law.
Got that second rope here. Come on, let me through.
We don't need no sheriff here. No, we can take care of this ourselves. Let's string him up.
We ain't going to string him up. As soon as we find another piece of rope, we're going to tie him between those cars and drag him apart.
Oh, wait a minute, man. Wait a minute. There's no point in doing this.
Look here, Champness. You're sheriff of this county, and we like you.
But Joe English was our friend, and we liked him.
Come on, let's drink.
We ain't gonna let this sniveling rat get away with shooting him down in cold blood.
I didn't mean to, I tell you. I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you're drunk most of that time, but you know what you were doing all right. You're gonna pay for it.
Now, wait a minute, men.
Listen to me.
Wait a minute. Quiet! Listen a minute, fellas. Most of you men are my friends. I've known you for years. You helped elect me. Now, I told you when I ran for office that I stood for law enforcement, and I meant it. Are any of you dissatisfied with the job I've done?
No, but what's that got to do with it?
We ain't lynching you, Sheriff.
No, and you're not lynching this boy either. There's a law against murder in this state. Doesn't make any difference whether it's one man or 50 that does the killing. It's still murder, and it's still against the law. I told you I was for law enforcement, and I'm going to enforce this one. You can keep me from taking this boy, but you can't keep me from doing my duty. It's my duty to protect him with my life, if I have to, until he's had a fair trial.
What do we want to waste time trying a guy like him for?
He's got his rights just the same as you have.
He ain't got no rights around here.
Now, listen to me. Quiet! We've never had a lynching around here yet. We're not going to start now. I know how you fellas feel. I knew Joe English as well as you did. I was a whole lot closer to him than most of you were. And I haven't any more sympathy for this boy than you have. But I'm not going to stand by and see you take the law in your own hands.
String him up, come on.
The first crime was bad enough. Yours will be worse. I came here to get Jesse Crabtree to take him to jail. And I'm going to do it. And I'm asking you fellas not to try to stop me. Because if you do, there's going to be some more shooting. And I don't want to have to do it. Come on, Jesse.
In just a moment, Sheriff Champness will give us concluding facts regarding our program. But before presenting him, friends, I'd like to say that the popularity of police car performance, Rio Grande cracked gasoline, and can't break down real lube motor oil is due to the actual tests of thousands who have tried these two superior products and thus become the friends and customers of Rio Grande for life. They are the finest petroleum products you can buy. And now, Sheriff Champness.
On August the 28th, Jesse Woodrow Crabtree was brought to trial in the Superior Court of the County of Kern. And after hearing all the evidence, a jury of 12 men and women brought in a verdict of first-degree murder, but suggested to the court that leniency should be shown the prisoner in respect and sorrow for his poor mother. The court sentenced Crabtree to life imprisonment in the San Quentin Penitentiary for one of the most atrocious and brutal crimes committed in Kern County. It might be added that the jury in their recommendation of leniency did not suggest any compensation for the great loss suffered by Mrs. Joe English or her daughter.
Thank you, Sheriff Champness.
Kern County Sheriff's Office calling all cars, attention all cars, to cancellation of broadcast 247 regarding a murder. Suspect in this case is now in custody. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande. Calling all cars, the copyrighted program created by Rio Grande.
Fresno County Sheriff's Office calling all cars, attention all cars, broadcast 248 regarding a missing person. Described as a male American, 72 years, 5 feet 8 inches, was last seen on March 22nd. Notify the Fresno County Sheriff. That's all. Rosenquist.
I believe it's true, friends, that you get out of an automobile just about what you put into it. Fill your gas tank with the not-so-good gasoline, and how will your car perform?
Not so good.
Put in Rio Grande Cracked, and you get
Quicker starting, smoother acceleration, greater power, better mileage, and the top speed of which your car is capable. Because all of these qualities are instilled into this superior gasoline.
And that explains why a certain group of knowing drivers selected Rio Grande Cracked. They wanted a gasoline that had all 5 of these qualities. They tested every available brand and found that Rio Grande Cracked had everything. That is why more police cars, fire engines, ambulances, and other emergency equipment on the boulevards and highways of California today are powered by Rio Grande Cracked than any other brand. We are also proud of the fact that Rio Grande Cracked is the gasoline preferred by the heads of the California state and federal governments, and equally happy that tens of thousands of your motorists have also chosen Rio Grande Cracked. If you've not done so, drop around at the red and white Rio Grande station in your neighborhood tomorrow and join the rest of us in getting police car performance with Rio Grande Cracked, the gasoline of the people and for the people, the most highly recommended gasoline sold in the West. The story we're to hear tonight has been taken from the confidential records on file in the office of Sheriff George Overholt of Fresno County. We have therefore asked Sheriff Overholt to prepare a foreword for our program.
Circumstantial evidence is something that the average person has classified as an undesirable thing. Many have been led to believe that circumstantial evidence should not be used to convict a man of a felony. However, consider for a moment the many and varied stories that have been told in court by eyewitnesses to a crime, and contrast those stories with the indisputable evidence of physical facts. It is significant that in the state of California, the death penalty has been assessed only twice on the basis of circumstantial evidence, and both those cases have come from Fresno County. Tonight's story is one of them, and although this case is still on appeal, there is little doubt but that the judgment of the trial court will be upheld. However, I shall reserve additional comment for the end of the program.
Sheriff's Office. Overholt speaking.
This is the County Welfare Bureau.
What can I do for you?
Well, we've just been out to the shack where Old Man Leak lives, and he isn't there.
Well, what do you want us to do?
Well, I think you should investigate. The old man's been coming in regularly every week for the past couple of months. We haven't seen him now in 2 weeks. We sent one of our workers out today to see if anything had happened to him, and she reports that his shack seems pretty torn up. We're afraid something may have happened to the old man.
All right, I'll put somebody on it. Is Jack Tar out there?
Yeah, Sheriff, right here.
Well, get John Ford and come in here.
Deputy Ford and Tar made an inspection of the missing man's cabin, but found nothing to arouse their suspicions. They returned to the office to report their findings to Overholt.
Well, Tar, what did you and Ford find out on that leak job?
I don't know. I don't see anything to worry about. Looks to me like the old man just wandered off somewhere, and while he was gone, somebody broke into the joint. The place has been pretty well ransacked.
We talked to some of the Mexicans living out there close to the brickyard, and none of them have seen the old man since sometime late in March.
Well, I guess he'll turn up. Oh, by the way, Ford, you know a colored boy named Ray Davis?
No, I don't think so. Why?
Well, he was in here a while ago looking for you. Said he'd come back.
There's a colored boy out there in the hall, but his name's Green.
Well, call him in. Maybe he's the one.
Come in here, Willie.
Yes, sir.
You want to see me?
Yes, sir, Mr. Ford. I want to talk to you.
All right, come on in here. Is this the boy, Sheriff?
Yes, that's the fellow. I thought you told me your name was Ray Davis.
Yes, I did.
Well, why don't you make up your mind what your name is?
Oh, I can explain that.
What's the trouble, Willie?
You all know old man Leak lived out the brickyard.
Leak? What about it?
Well, there's something I think I ought to tell you about the old man. He done made me a proposition.
What kind of a proposition?
Well, he done made me a proposition to blow you fellas up.
Huh? Blow who up?
Blow up the sheriff's office and all you fellas. Well, Mr. Ford and Mr. Tar, all of you.
Well, what did you say about this proposition?
I told him he's crazy.
Well, when did all this happen?
About a week ago.
And just how are you going to do it?
Well, the old man was going to get some dynamite and put it in a suitcase, and he told me to come up here and sit down out there in the hall and wait till you fellas was all in here. Then he told me I was to stick my cigarette on the fuse and just walk out.
And what else?
Well, he got 5 gallons of gasoline and some coal oil, and he wanted me to pour it on the Mexican shacks down there and burn 'em up, and the Mexicans in 'em. Burn 'em.
Well, what was the idea of that?
Well, they say them Mexicans been stealing some stuff out in this place, and besides, he wanted one of the houses that one of 'em was living in. And he figured if he was to burn up some of 'em, the others would leave. He said they'd been stealing dynamite out of the brickyard, too.
Well, and what were you supposed to get out of this, Willie?
Well, he's going to give me $300 for the job. Give me $100.
Oh, he gave you $100? Where'd he get $100?
Oh, he had lots of money. Took it out of the bank.
When?
Oh, a long time ago. Last year sometime, just after you fellas had him in jail here. He said he was going to leave town.
Well, why didn't he?
He said he wasn't going to leave till he got even with you fellas for arresting him that time when he's carrying them guns.
I see. Well, what happened to this dynamite idea?
Well, I wasn't going to do it nohow, but I just told him I would.
Mm-hmm. And where's the old man now?
Don't know for sure, but, well, he said he'd write me a letter from San Francisco. They ain't come yet. Boy, I didn't know it was that late. I got to be getting over to the post office. I got a package coming in.
Well, wait a minute, Willie. It's a nice watch you got there. Where'd you get it?
Oh, I bought that Waltham when I was in Stockton 2 years ago. Sure is a fine watch, too.
Well, this isn't a Waltham. This is a Hamilton watch, Willie.
Yes, sir, that's what I said, Hamilton.
You said Waltham. Never mind. What makes you think you're going to get a letter from old man Leake?
Oh, he just said he'd write to me.
Well, you run along, and as soon as you hear from him, you let us know. We'd like to talk to him about that dynamite idea.
I sure do that, Mr. Ford, because I don't want to get mixed up with the law. I know crime don't pay.
What made you decide that?
In them 7 years I put in San Quentin.
All right, run along, Willie. Be sure you come back here when you get that letter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Ford.
And close that door.
Yes.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know.
I can't figure out why that boy came around here.
Well, maybe he's telling the truth.
Well, he probably is, but why did he want to come tell us the story?
Well, maybe he thinks it's a good idea to stay on the side of law and order.
Yeah, San Quentin does that for some guys. Oh, John, you know what he went up for?
Burglary from Merced. Seems to be going straight now, though, as far as I can find out.
What does he do for a living?
Oh, he paints a few signs. He's a pretty good sign painter. Washes and polishes cars, digs cisterns and cesspools and whatever else he can find.
You think he'll come back when he gets the letter from the old man?
If he doesn't, I'll slap him in the hoosgow.
2 days later, on the 31st of March, Green again puts in an appearance at the sheriff's office.
Well, Mr. Ford, I got the letter.
That's so? Let's see it. Come on in the office.
Yes, sir.
Willie got his letter, Sheriff.
Oh, that's so?
Yeah.
Let me read it. Willie, are you sure Leake wrote this letter?
Yes, sir, I'm pretty sure.
Why does he call you Ray Davis?
Well, that's on account of the other letter in the package.
Now, wait a minute. What letter and what package?
The letter with the check in it.
Maybe you better tell us about that one, Willie.
Well, sir, the other day before Mr. Leake left, he called me over and he said to me, Willie, how'd you all like to go in business?
What kind of business?
Oh, you know, the sign painting business.
Go on.
Well, he said, here's a $100 bill. Now, you take it and go buy yourself something. But don't cash that bill in Fresno, in case he'll get suspicious and start asking you questions.
Who is this that was going to get suspicious?
Well, I don't know, but I reckon he meant you fellas here in the office.
Well, what did you do with the $100 bill, huh?
Well, I put it in the envelope. No, I didn't. I give it to Mr. Leake, and he put it in the envelope and sent it to Montgomery Ward and opened it.
Well, what did he do that for?
Well, I wanted some records for my phonograph, so I marked off the records I wanted on the page in the catalog and give it to Mr. Leake. He put it in the envelope and sent it off. And he told him to send it to Ray Davis. That's why I got in trouble over the post office.
What kind of trouble?
Well, when I went over there to ask for my letter, the lady, she say, wait a minute. And then she called up some fella, and he come down, and he say, is your name Ray Davis? And I says, yes, sir. And he says, you know anybody around here? And I says, yes, sir. I know Mr. Ford and the boys over at the sheriff's office. And he say, well, how come you send a $100 bill after $4 worth of records? I says, how come you all know that? And he said, well, they got suspicious in the audit department at Montgomery Ward, and they call in the Secret Service men.
Well, what did you tell the man at the post office?
Oh, I just told him that I didn't know no better and wanted to get the change.
I thought you said Leake was going to give you $300 for this dynamite job you were going to do.
Yes, sir. He say something about that in the letter there. Why, he say he give me the other 200 when he reading the papers I done the job. He say he'd make a lot of trouble for me, though, if I tells anybody about this.
Wait a minute. That letter was sealed when you gave it to me a while ago. How does it happen you know what is in it?
Well, I just guessed that's what he's going to say.
Well, you did some pretty close guessing, Willie. But that's exactly what this letter does say. John, would you bring me Leake's fingerprint card?
Yeah, right away.
Willie, when did you tell me that you saw Leake the last time?
About a week ago.
You mean last Saturday?
Yes, sir, sometime around there.
Well, was it before Saturday or after?
Must have been after Saturday, because it was after that I was back from San Francisco. And I was in San Francisco on the Sunday. So it must have been after that. No, sir. I believe it was the Sunday before that.
Here's the old man's card, Sheriff.
Here, Willie. Write Ray Davis on this sheet of paper. Take a look at this card, John. See any similarity between this handwriting and this letter of Leake's that Willie has?
No, not very much.
Here's that piece of paper, Sheriff.
Oh, thank you, Willie. Well, what do you think, John?
Yeah, I think you've got something worth looking into.
You all through with me, Mr. Ford?
Stick around a while, Willie. We might want some more information.
Yes, sir.
Sheriff, I've just been out taking up a... Well, what's that guy doing in here?
He brought us a letter that he got from Leake today.
Oh, he did, huh? Look, Willie, how'd you like to run over and get me a package of cigarettes?
Sure, I'll be glad to, Mr. Tarr.
Fine. Here's 4 bits. Get something for yourself, too.
Yes, sir. I'll be right back.
No hurry.
How come you're getting so generous all of a sudden?
I wanted to get him out of here. I didn't want him to be suspicious.
Well, why should he be suspicious?
Well, Ed Martin and I just got back from checking over old man Leake's place, talking to some of the neighbors out there. According to the dope we got, the last man seen with old man Leake was Willie Green. And that was on the night of March 19th.
Well, now, just wait a minute. John, didn't Willie tell us he was in San Francisco on the 20th?
Yes, he did.
Well, maybe he was. But here's something else.
Well, what's that?
A little item we found close to the railroad track out near the brickyard.
Old pair of overalls, huh?
Bloody torn overalls. But I'll bet my bottom dollar belonged to old man Leake.
Well, where'd you find them?
Exactly 351 feet from the edge of Potter's Field. You see, the pockets had been cut out and the buckles torn off. Found these buckles 92 feet farther toward the graveyard than the overalls were.
Well, this is beginning to add up to something.
What do you think?
I don't know. Ed Martin's got a bunch of men going over the ground out there by the brickyard. I've got a hunch that out there somewhere we're going to find old man Leake's body.
Well, how about this letter he wrote Willie Green?
I don't know, but I'm sure going to find out.
What kind of cigarettes you all want, Mr. Tarr? You didn't tell me.
I never mind, Willie. Come on in. I want to have a talk with you.
Yes, sir.
Willie, when did you see old man Leake last?
I think it must have been around the middle of the month.
Mm-hmm. And what time did you go to San Francisco last week?
Well, I left here Saturday morning and stopped off in Merced, and then I got a freight train out of Merced. Got in San Francisco about midnight.
Midnight, huh? Where'd you stay?
That little hotel down close to SP Depot.
You remember the name of the place?
No, sir, but I can find it for you.
Willie, are you sure you didn't see old man Leake last Saturday night?
Yes, sir, I'm sure.
Where was he the last time you saw him?
He's down there by the creek, close to the bridge.
All right. Go on out and get those cigarettes.
Yes,
sir. Well, what do you think?
I don't know. There's a bare possibility that the old man may have wandered off down there and tumbled into that canal.
Oh, for the love of Mike, don't tell me we're going to have to drag that canal again.
No, but we're sure going to have a look at every foot of it.
Working on the theory that the missing man may have fallen into the stream or that he might have been killed and his body placed in the water, the officers began a systematic inspection of the canal. Fearful lest grappling hooks might miss or destroy some valuable clue, the officers determined to pump the water from the pit. Hour after hour, the steady throb of the pumps lowered the level of the water. At last, objects on the bottom became visible. In the clear water of the pit, the deputies found their first important lead.
Well, boys, what did you find?
Plenty.
I think we've got pretty good evidence that old man Leake is dead.
Oh, that's so?
Come on in here, Sheriff. Bill Morton's got the stuff in his laboratory. Oh, John, bring that record card of old man Leake, will you? Here's the stuff we got out of the pit, George. Here's a coat, a set of keys, and a pair of glasses.
Here's the card, Jack.
Oh, thanks. See this right temple on old man Leake's glasses?
Yeah, it's got a rubber tube on it, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's what the guys that repair radio sets call spaghetti. You see that crooked nose piece?
Uh-huh.
Now take a look at these glasses we found in the gravel pit.
Yeah, they're the same ones, aren't they?
Yep. Those are old man Leake's glasses. I took these keys out and tried them in the old man's car, and they fit.
So it looks like we've got another murder on our hands.
Yep. And no body.
Well, maybe not. But we've got an A number one suspect.
You mean Willie?
Yep. Willie Green.
Yeah.
Mr. Todd, you never did tell me what kind of cigarettes you all want.
Well, that's all right, Willie. Come on in. We won't need any cigarettes now. We're going to be busy.
Yes, sir. What do it?
Finding out why you killed old man Leake and what you did with his body.
Convinced now that a murder had been committed, officers began questioning Willie Green. Suddenly grown sullen and defiant, Green could not or would not account for his movements immediately preceding the disappearance of the murdered man. Time after time he changed his story, each time becoming more involved than before. At last he refused to answer any questions, but carefully worded conversations which the officers held between themselves would from time to time goad him into fresh admissions or denials. He stoutly maintained at all times that Leake was not dead, but was in hiding. Then, on the 4th of April, Sheriff Overholt and his deputies again determined to search the neighborhood of Leake's home.
Now, just where have you boys been looking for Leake's body?
Well, we figured that if anybody was going to kill a man and bury the body, he'd choose a place that wasn't visible from all points.
Well, that's reasonable, all right.
So we've been down in the hollow there, close to the Mexican houses, over here in this low place beyond the railroad, and down in that dump heap there.
Well, that might work for an ordinary person.
What do you mean?
Did it ever occur to you that Willie did some pretty clever maneuvering when he came around to us before we knew anything had happened to Leake?
Yeah, I thought it was funny at the time.
All right. Now, let's assume that he isn't figuring like an ordinary man. Or else that he's just plain foolhardy. Let's go over this ground again. This time, let's look for the high places. Now, according to what we found out before, you boys found some bloodstains down by the railroad track there, didn't you?
Yep, that's right.
All right. Let's go a little further down the line and see what we can find.
All right.
Yeah, a guy'd have to be touched in the head to try to bury a body up here.
No, I don't think our murderer is touched in the head, Jack. I think he's a very clever man.
Well, there have been times when Willie Green showed signs of being clever.
We haven't convicted Willie Green of this murder yet, John. Did you boys look under that pile of junk over there?
No, we didn't. There's no time like the present.
Well, here, let's move these old fenders.
All right. Well, George, this looks like the place, all right.
I'm afraid it is. Opposite the 13th grave. Let's get a couple of fellows over here and do a little digging.
Within a few minutes, the loose sand revealed the gruesome fact that the missing man had indeed been murdered. The brutally beaten and crushed body of John Leake was taken from its shallow grave. Fingerprint examination by Deputy Mortland definitely established the identity of the murdered man. Meantime, deputy sheriffs had been checking Willie Green's story of his trip to San Francisco and of his last meeting with John Leake. Their findings reported, Green is again brought in for questioning.
Willie, how does it happen that you told us that you were in San Francisco on March 20th, when, as a matter of fact, you were in Fresno on that date, weren't you?
No, sir. I wasn't in Fresno. I was in San Francisco.
Mr. Martin here tells me different. How about it, Ed?
We checked all the rooming houses around the depot in San Francisco, and we found the place where Green stayed when he was there. It was on the night of the 26th, and not the night of the 19th and 20th.
That ain't so.
We found a woman who runs a restaurant close to the hotel, and when we showed her pictures of Willie, she recognized him as the man who'd been there, buying chicken dinners for all the crowd on Saturday night, the 26th.
I didn't buy no chicken dinner.
She told us that Willie showed her several $100 bills, and he told her he got them from his sister back in Chicago, and that his sister owned some oil wells.
How about that, Willie?
I never told her nothing of the kind.
Jack and I checked with the bank where old man Leake did his business, and they tell us that about a year ago, the old man drew $5,000 out of a savings account. Most of it in $100 bills, and some of it in $10 gold pieces.
What did you do with the gold, Willie?
I ain't never had no gold, except what I mined when I was up at the SERA camp.
We checked up on that Merced angle. We found that Willie had been there, that he paid a woman where he used to live some back room rent. She said that he took the money out of a wallet, and that the name on the wallet was Leake.
She's lying. She don't like me, that's all.
What kind of a watch do you own, Willie?
A Waltham, I done told you once. Besides, you ought to know you took it away from me.
You mean this watch?
Yeah, that's the one. They took it away from me when they locked me up.
But this watch is a Hamilton.
So what? I should call it a Waltham.
Wait a minute. Let's see that record card of old man Leake.
Here it is.
Now, look, George. Here's a list of the property that the old man had on him when we picked him up last year.
Uh-huh. I see.
Where did you get this watch, Willie?
I bought it from a little jewelry store in Stockton 2 years ago, right close to the coat house.
And you call it a Waltham, huh?
Yeah.
Well, part of the property of old man Leak, the part of it that's missing, was a Waltham watch.
So what?
And this Hamilton watch is clean, inside. It hasn't been carried any 2 years.
Well, that don't prove nothing.
Maybe not. But I'll lay you a little bet that before I'm through, it'll prove that you killed old man Leak.
From the file of the previous case involving the murdered man, officers learned that the missing watch had been purchased from a jeweler in Coalinga. Accordingly, they took the watch which Green claimed he had purchased in Stockton to the jeweler for examination.
Good morning, Mr. Petty. You know Deputy Martin, don't you?
Yeah, why, sure. Hi, Ed. Fine.
Mr. Petty, we've got a watch we want you to look over. See if you have any record of ever having cleaned it. Here it is.
Yeah, it's a good-looking watch. Just a minute, let me look inside the case.
All right.
No, I never had this watch in here, but here's a number that indicates that the watch was repaired in 1936 by a jeweler at the Army post in the Presidio in San Francisco.
1936.
He might be able to tell you something about it.
Well, okay, thanks. We'll check with him. Now, you do repair work for most of the fellas here in the post, don't you?
Well, as much of it as I can get.
I see. You ever see this watch before?
Well, let me look at it. Yes, I repaired this watch about, I guess... Oh, wait a minute, let me see. In August 1936.
Well, fine.
Wait a minute, I've got his name right here. Yes, here it is. Joe Gilbert, Company F.
Joe Gilbert, huh? You're sure it was 1936?
Certainly. Here's the date right here.
Well, that's fine. Look, can you tell whether that watch was ever repaired in Stockton?
Yes, if the repairman put his initial on it. But I don't see anything on it here that indicates that.
Okay, thanks. I think we'll go over and see Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert, I'm trying to find out something about the history of this watch. You ever seen it before?
Why, sure. That used to be my watch. I gave it to Louis Edwards. I owed him $6. He was discharged, and I didn't have any cash, so I gave him the watch.
Well, do you know where Louis Edwards is now?
No, but he used to live up at Oroville.
Good morning, sir. Are you Mr. Edwards?
Yes, sir. That's my name.
Well, I'm trying to get in touch with Louis Edwards. You know where I could find him?
What do you want with him?
Well, I've got a watch here that he used to own, and I'm trying to trace the place where he sold it.
Is he in any kind of trouble?
Oh, no. No, he's not. I just want to find out where this watch has been since he sold it.
Well, I don't know where he is right now. He was working for a man down on F Street in Bakersfield the last time I heard from him.
I see. Well, thanks. Oh, if you hear from him, ask him to get in touch with the sheriff's office in Fresno, will you?
I know. Edwards ain't been here for 3 or 4 months, I guess. He said he was going down to visit a brother of his in Compton.
No, Louis hasn't been here for a month or more, I guess. He's down at Jack's place in Palm Springs. He's another brother.
Nope, Louis's not here. Haven't seen him since he came down from Bakersfield. Said he was going to live with Gene over in Compton.
Yeah, but Gene hasn't seen him for a month.
Well, you might try the family again. They moved up to Marysville.
Okay.
No, Louis hasn't been home, but he might come in any day now. Just as soon as he does, I'll get in touch with you.
Faced with the seemingly hopeless task of finding the man who had previously owned the watch, Under Sheriff Tarr returned to Fresno. Then, in company with other officers, they attempted to trace the watch through the records of the San Francisco Police Department in the hope that those records might show the purchase by the suspected man. Again, they were faced with the impossible task of checking thousands of records with insufficient information upon which to base their search. Then, one day, from Marysville, word came from Louis Edwards, giving the name and address of a pawn shop in San Francisco where the watch had been sold less than a year before. Immediately, Deputy Martin and Tarr contacted the pawnbroker.
Now, look, I've got a watch here that's supposed to have been sold by this shop.
Say, weren't you the fellows in here the other day? No, but we've been in every other hock shop in San Francisco. Let me look at that watch.
Well, I don't know. It'll take me a long time to check all my records.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion you won't have to look very far, because I believe that this watch was bought here between the 15th of last month and the 1st of this month.
All right, let's start looking with March 15th.
I think you can get it farther down than that, Jack. We know that Green was in Fresno the night of the 19th. Let's start with the 20th.
Okay, the 20th it is. 20th, no Hamilton. 21st, no Hamilton. 22nd, no Hamilton. 23rd,
No Hamilton.
no Hamilton. None on the 24th. 25th, no. 26th, no. 27th. How about a Waltham?
Waltham? What about it?
I bought a Waltham on the 27th, and I traded a Hamilton, a 21-jewel watch for it, and got a $10 gold piece in trade.
Are you sure of that?
Positive. You can see for yourself. I sold this Hamilton watch to a young colored man, weighed about 150 pounds, 5 feet 8 inches, according to the sales slip. Here's his name, Ray Davis. I got a gold-faced Waltham watch and a $10 gold piece. You say, wait a minute. There's no trouble about this watch, is there? Is there?
Huh? Oh, no. No, not very much. Just a fella got murdered for it, that's all.
All right, Willie. Now I want the truth about old man Leak.
I done told you all the truth.
Oh, no, you haven't. You told us that Leak wrote your letter on the 27th day of March.
That's right.
Well, Leak was dead on the 23rd of March, Willie, and buried.
How you all know that?
Because, Willie, it rained on the 23rd day of March, and the grave where we found old man Leak had been rained on. Besides, the handwriting on that letter and the handwriting on the jeweler's sales slip where you bought that watch, and on the envelope when you ordered the records, the handwriting is all the same.
Well, it ain't mine.
And all those specimens of handwriting are the same as that on the letters you wrote when you were in San Quentin. Now, what about it, Willie?
I ain't talking. I said enough.
Yes, Willie, I'm afraid you have. You've said too much. As a matter of fact, it's going to hang you.
In just a moment, Sheriff Overholt will tell us additional facts regarding tonight's story. But just a reminder, friends, just as you think of police car performance, Rio Grande cracked gasoline, whenever you hear the shrill cry of sirens, will you do this? When you need an oil change, think of Reolube, the stronger, smoother lubricant that can't break down. For Reolube is justly known as the newest and finest motor oil sold in the West. And now, Sheriff Overholt.
On purely circumstantial evidence, Willie Green was brought to trial, and in exactly 55 minutes, a jury returned a verdict of guilty. The evidence of the watch was the most conclusive of all, and Green received the death sentence as payment for his crime.
Thank you, Sheriff Overholt.
Fresno County Sheriff's Office calling all cars, attention all cars, cancellation broadcast 248 regarding a missing person. Suspect in this case is now in custody. That's all. Rosenquist.
This is your narrator, Frederick Lindsley, bidding you good night for Rio Grande.